Wyslouch here. Welcome to Quick Tips. Today I want to talk about a practice routine that could help you implement double stops into your fiddle tune improvisation. So let's begin. I know what double stops are. They're two notes played at the same time, but they just don't seem to appear. I can't get beyond the tabs that I've learned of a fiddle tune. What do I do? Well, let's take a tune that we've been working with a lot in Quick Tips, and that's the Red-Haired Boy. So one way that you could do it literally is just say, well, let's just harmonize every note of the fiddle tune with a certain interval above or below it. So we could take the first phrase of Red-Haired Boy. Let's harmonize all of those notes with a third below. We're in the key of A major, so if we play, for example, an E, and we want to play a third below, we just go 3 notes down in the A major scale. E, D, C sharp. So C sharp note below that E. Boom, there we've got our double stop, the melody note, and a third below. Go up to an F sharp, play a third below, which would be a D. And then an A, third below would be an F sharp. And then a B, a third below would be a G or a G sharp. This tune, the Red-Haired Boy, we sometimes use a G and we sometimes use a G sharp. Player's choice, you make the decision musically, whichever you like the sound of better. I'm going to use a G sharp right now for those first 5 notes. Okay, that sounds nice. It sounds like I'm kind of harmonizing with myself. But realistically, at high tempos, I'm not going to be able to do that. It's a very cumbersome thing to be able to play at fiddle tune speeds and harmonize every single note. So how am I going to implement this and systematically practice it? Well, I'm going to revert to my skeletal melody practicing. And I'm going to go down to the half note skeleton of the Red-Haired Boy. If you look at previous quick tips, like quick tip 81, we were dealing with this half note skeleton, so make sure to check that out and review it. Here's what it sounds like. For brevity, I'm just going to play an A part and a B part, not the usual A, A, B, B form. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the half note skeleton. So that skeleton would work over something that's going at this speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's a realistic tempo that we can start implementing some double stops on at the half note skeleton level. So now we have a very specific aim for our practice session, which is I want to harmonize with a predetermined interval the whole half note skeleton of X melody, in this case, the Red-Haired Boy. Just do this as a structured exercise. Don't worry about the musical merits of it yet. Your fingers just need to know where these tasty notes are. So let's determine an interval. Let's use a third. Not just a third, let's do a third below every melody note, like we kind of started out when we used that first 5-note example. Here's what the half note skeleton sounds like harmonized. And by the way, I'm going to have this and many other examples on my Patreon page. Make sure to sign up, become a subscriber to my Patreon page to get monthly access to workshops, to get supplemental materials to all my quick tips. More than 80 of them exist. Here's the half note skeleton of Red-Haired Boy, harmonized with thirds below every single note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. On its own, it doesn't sound very impressive. But if we start going back to the technique that we've discussed a lot in these quick tips, which is toggling between improvisation and melody, you can really start to add and tap into new dimensions of your fiddle tune improvisation by going between this sort of half note skeleton double stop thing and the classic melody you've already learned to play off a tab, a recording, or however you learned it in the first place. So let's toggle as follows. The first 4 bars of a part, we'll play the straight eighth note melody as we learned it before. The second 4 bars will jump into our half note skeleton with intervals below. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Let's do the opposite. Start with our harmonized half note skeleton and then jump into the eighth notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Practice that as a structured thing. Just set up little obstacle courses for yourselves to teach your fingers to do new things, to teach your ears to hear new things. Then, as always, make sure that there's a part of the practice routine where you're just playing. And see what happens over the course of like a month maybe. What happens to the loose time when you're just playing the tune, trying to trust your intuition with the metronome or your backing track like a strum machine, and pairing that with some disciplined, 5 to 10 minutes a day of just trying out this structural exercise of harmonizing a half note skeleton. There's lots of stylistic things you could do to the double stops. You don't just have to play them as straight things. You could alter the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was all thirds with some syncopations. You could do tremolo stuff. 2, 3, 4. Nice. You could just be bouncing back and forth on those double stop notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pair that with the classic melody. You're looking at 5 to 10 variations just based on what we've talked about. Some other variations. Try the same interval, a third, but above every melody note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Interesting. What about the first 4 bars with a third below? Second 4 bars with the third above. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one, try a different double stop. We've just been dealing with thirds. What if you harmonize with a fourth below or above? Now I don't want to overwhelm you with all these options. If you were a private student of mine, I would send you home for 1 week or 2 weeks and just say take one of these intervals, one direction, and really master it on the tune. I am currently accepting private students. Please email me if you'd like to book a lesson package. I hope you'll join my Patreon page where you get supplemental materials, access to monthly workshops, Patreon exclusive, and other nice perks. My name's Stash Wyslouch, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks for another quick tip.